guys, what's up? It's Katie Candy and the Droker here with another episode of From Comics to Cinemas podcast. For those of you who don't know, we are gamers on Twitch and huge comic book nerds, and you can see the links to those channels in the description of this video and at the end of the video. So be sure to drop us a follow. Remember, you can catch the live recording of the show every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the Candyland Discord. And I am super excited about this week, Dro, because we didn't record last week because I had a chaotic work schedule, and then I thought I was going to have a normal work schedule, and then, well, that kind of went out the window. So
yeah, I know that life.
But I'm really excited about this one because we are talking about Batman's beloved and, well-mannered, timid butler, Alfred.
Yeah.
Is he that timid? Is he that
mountain
man?
He's kind of a badass. I mean, I guess early on he really was timid. He was actually kind of like a goofy, fumbling butler early on in his
Right.
really early incarnation. In fact, he was like the bumbling like dummy sidekick in his first iteration, and he was actually Alfred Beagle.
Yes.
And yeah, he was. Actually, who he reminds me of? He reminds me of the cheeseburger eating guy from what cartoon was that? I think it was Popeye.
Oh,
the guy who always wanted cheeseburgers.
Wimpy.
Yeah,
Wimpy.
That's what he reminds me of, the earlier rendition of Alfred. So yeah, Golden Age Alfred was definitely not not the guy we know today for sure.
Definitely not.
No, but he was like the sidekick. He was there early on, so he's kind of he's always been there. But yeah, he was definitely not the same. And Alfred was actually, well, technically a villain a couple times, but he was a villain mainly one time called the Outsider.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, for comic reasons, he doesn't remember it anymore, and it never happened. But if you happen to have those issues, those would be pretty cool to snag up. He actually
that was the Silver Age, right? Yeah, that was the Silver Age.
During the Silver Age, and he was there was a Dr. Crawford who very reminiscent of the Lazarus part. He created a machine. Raish had the portal puddle or whatever iteration of it, but basically the same thing. It kind of made you so. Once they got it perfected, they kind of he came back to the old butler self. But yeah, so he had some really crazy iterations early on. Was definitely not the debonair kind of butler that we know and came to love.
Right. And that butler that we came, the Alfred that, wow, I can really talk today. It's like I haven't done this for a week. Over a week, 2 weeks. The Alfred that we know and love, of course, came kind of from post-crisis, right?
Yeah, so early on, so 1940 was a 43. His first appearance, he was a little chubbier, and I think it wasn't until 1944 in February, Batman 21, that he was redesigned as a thin Alfred, and then we really don't get what you were talking about, the Alfred that we really get. They really don't touch on him again until basically the 80s.
Right.
And that's when it's kind of established that he's actually former military. There's a couple of different versions. There's former World War II operative. There's former SAS. There's in either way, he's military trained. He fought in a war. He's been in the jungles. He's been through it, man. He's a young man. He went through it, and he actually became an actor afterwards. Kind of an obscure fact about Alfred. He's actually theatrically trained, classic theater. Which kind of leads into what we're going to talk about something later. So, yeah, it's interesting. The man, he's had an interesting history, to say the least. He literally wore special ops operative to theater actor, butler. His dad was a butler. That stayed true if you watch Pennyworth the series, which we'll talk about later. That stayed true.
You know what? Him going from soldier to actor kind of reminds me of. Did you ever see the show Barry, where he's he's basically like a hitman, but he basically becomes an actor? Good show.
I need to see that.
Good show. Very, very dark comedy, but a very good show. Yeah, it's right up our alley.
Yeah, it's right up my alley. Absolutely. I'll check this out. Good recommendation. With Henry Winkler. Really? The Fonz?
Mm-hmm. The Fonz is an acting coach.
I've always said he's a good actor, and everybody sleeps on him because he always plays typecasted roles. But
no, he's good. He was actually nominated for an Emmy for that show for Best Supporting Actor.
Okay, I'm gonna have to, what's it called again?
Barry.
Barry. Okay,
Yeah.
so that was like Barry, like the verb, or like Barry Allen.
Like Barry Allen.
Okay, 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 okay. No, because if it was like Barry, like dig a hole, I'm like, ooh, that just took a whole new dark turn. I'm excited. Sorry. So yeah, moving back on back to Alfred.
Sorry for the tangent, guys.
No, that's good. No, that was that's because I like shows like that. So yeah, no, it's and yeah, what were we talking about?
Alfred Pennyworth.
Right. I have to trust you on that one. No, so yeah, in '69 is actually when he dropped the Beagle name and got the Pennyworth name. That was November '69 with Batman 216. So that's kind of a monumental one. Did you know he also has a daughter?
I did not know that.
Yeah, Alfred Pennyworth has a daughter, Julia, not not the one from the movies that became Batgirl, and
Yeah, we don't talk about
Schumacher
Barbara.
movies. Yeah,
Uncle
no, he did have
Alfred.
Julia Pennyworth. She's been kind of forgotten about for a while. She made a resurgence in 2014 with Batman Eternal #9, which I actually do have. Like the only Alfred Key issue comic I have. So with his daughter, it's not even an Alfred comic. But yeah, so there's some stuff to look at too. So she has like an origin that I have to look into because there's some conflicting information. I just have the comic. I'm just gonna go read it. I literally just read about it before we started the podcast at like 5:30, so I didn't have time to go do it. But very like no, not the fruit. Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah. So anyway, post crisis is where we really need to start off as our jumping off point, because like
Yeah.
that was just kind of like the prehistory, because this is the Alfred that we know and love. This is the guy who takes care of Bruce, who
Mhm.
becomes like this arrogant father figure basically for not only him but like every Robin that ever comes in to the Bat family. Alfred's like the second dad or grandfather or uncle or whatever, however you want to look at it. Not only is he militarily trained, he's actually medically militarily trained. So that's why he's able to take care of Bruce. The only injury, and I remember this specifically because I read this comic and I had it when I was a kid, and I'm sure a lot of you did out there, was when Bane broke his back. That was the only injury he couldn't fix. And
Right.
he actually had to call like a healer, and I forget her name. Her name
I
was
think it was
Chandra.
Chandra.
Chandra, yeah,
Yeah,
because
Chandra.
for plot reasons, she's a telekinetic healer who just happened to be there to help Batman. But whatever, we're not going to talk about that. Anyway, yeah, so she kind of like mends him, but like Alfred's really the one who like basically PTs him,
Mhm.
physical therapy and back to health, because I mean that's not an injury you could just
No.
I'm better. Like no, dude, you got to get the feeling back in your limbs. There's a lot of PT involved.
Unless
Like
you're
it's not.
Deadpool.
Yeah, unless unless you're Wade or Logan with his incredible regeneration powers, or I guess Chandra for that matter.
Or Lara X-23.
Yeah. Well, what's the other one? Dakin,
Dakin.
Dakin. I want to call him like a daikon radish. Anyway. So yeah, that's really the Alfred that we get, and that was like the first time we really like saw him not be able to take care of Bruce. Was
Right.
was that whole Nightfall Night Quest story
And
arc?
that's a really dark story.
Very, very dark story. You actually learn a lot about Alfred and Bruce in that story in
Mhm.
particular. There's a lot of really good dialogue between the two. It's basically what it is Bane. He releases a bunch of villains from Arkham, and Batman's basically going one by one. And I mean major villains, not like, Calendar Man or Kite Man. We're talking about Penguin, Riddler,
Oh, the
Croc,
big ones.
the big guys, the big hitters. And he one by one takes them all down. And right when he's his weakest, right when he comes home to like rest, Bane's right there ready to just beat him up. And he does. And because Batman's broken by this point, and Alfred's like, this is why I told you. There's a bunch of really good dialogue, but essentially like, this is why I told you need to take it easy. Because this exactly is what's going to happen. Somebody's going to take advantage of your willingness to always try to go out there and fight evil, and eventually you're just going to wear yourself down. And he
Mhm.
did. And then Alfred was left to pick up the pieces, which he does a really good job at. It's literally his mo. It's kind of like his second superpower, besides his like just immense wisdom and like just good advice that he's always has to keep Bruce level headed in any situation. He's always very talking. I mean, he's talking Bruce down from going into absolutely crazy and killing Justice League. But yeah, he's a good father figure. He's really cool. He's really cool. He's good. I like him a lot. I like the I like the Nightfall Alfred, probably my favorite Alfred,
Yeah.
honestly, because that's the one I grew up with. So
Very cool.
yeah, man. Yeah, man. Then there's some other stories that are here and there, but the one we got to talk about is the Joker one.
Yes. This is the main one I think we should absolutely 100% focus on because it is the coolest one and it's probably one of the ones that not a lot of people know about or think about when it comes to Alfred because you're kind of just like, wait, yo, what?
Yeah, man. So Neil Gaiman. I don't know how to say his last name. The guy did Sandman. He's resurged in popularity because of the Sandman show. He did a comic with Andy Kubert. He did a Batman. Whatever happened to the Cape Crusader? And it's actually a really cool. If you guys have ever seen Gotham Knights, it's kind of like that, but a comic book version of that. I'm pretty sure Gotham Knights might have drawn from this because it's like basically Batman's dead and people are at his funeral, his wake, and they're just like reminiscing about him and like they're talking about his life and like or like what's going on. And it's actually like a really cool thing, but it's all told from their point of view, and that's something you have to keep in mind because it comes full circle at the end of the story. But it's revealed that Alfred was actually the first Joker.
Dun dun
That like yeah, that like
dun.
Bruce basically could faced because he was going crazy, basically rounding up all these normal criminals and beating the crap out of them so easily. So, with his acting and his theatrical training, he dons white makeup, red lipstick, green wig, and a purple suit, and goes around. And he hires a gang of, of rogues, and they're actors as well, and they become Penguin. I believe Penguin, Riddler, Scarecrow, and I think Catwoman or Huntress. I can't remember.
I think it's Huntress.
It's Huntress or Catwoman. I can't remember which one it is. But yeah, he basically that's what it is. That's what it comes down to. And it's an interesting moment. And we shared the panel on the tweet. If you guys follow Katie
Hmm.
and us on Twitter, it's a very very cool panel. It reveals that he's like he needs a more Moriarty to his oh, what's his name? I completely blanked out. Sherlock Holmes. Moriarty Sherlock Holmes. I could not believe I forgot Sherlock Holmes.
We're really good with names.
But yeah, so he gives Bruce his ultimate villain, and
Yes.
it's a really cool comic. I really do recommend reading it. I don't really want to spoil too much. Um, we're just gonna leave it at that. If you guys want to find out more, I feel like you should look into it. It's a really cool story. Not many people are a fan of the way the story is told. I am. I like Gaiman's work. But
Neil Gaiman's great.
yeah, that's a personal thing. Not many people do like that. Same thing with like Grant Morrison. Not many people like a lot of Grant Morrison stuff. I do, because it references older comics and like older story arcs. So you kind of have to like know your stuff a
Hmm.
little bit, or at
Hmm.
least be able to Google foo pretty well. So, but yeah, that was the show we were talking about. Yeah. Which leads us to the fantastic show that we got to watch and experience 2 seasons of.
Yes, and I cannot wait for the third season because it looks so good. And I think HBO and Warner Brothers did a good job with a character that there's backstory to, but we don't really know much of his backstory to. So it was great to see him, out of the SAS, right?
Mm-hmm.
And into this role of trying to start his own private security firm.
Yeah, which is really
And
cool.
yeah, with it, and just instantly running into Thomas Wayne, which isn't how he meets Thomas in the comics, but like I thought it was kind of cool. Hey, I need you like to get my sister out of this bar.
Yeah, it's definitely an Elseworld story. So is the Alfred being Joker. That's considered like
Yeah.
an Elseworld story. So just keep that in mind, guys, moving forward into like it's definitely really cool. They definitely got the SAS military thing trained.
Hmm.
And it's funny because like there's not really been a more like a completely cohesive Alfred story. It's always been like an Alfred and Batman story because they're
Right.
tied together. So it's really nice just to see Alfred without Bruce.
Right. With it, like, and basically kind of telling like Thomas to shove it.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, a lot
a
throughout
lot.
the show. let's be fair. Alfred tells everybody to shove it throughout that show. Alfred's a
He does.
pretty.
He does, and he does it politely too.
Yeah. And you know who he sounds a lot like? And I don't know if they're from the same area of the UK. Maybe that's why they have the same accent. But he sounds a lot like the guy who played, what's it, Michael Caine?
Yeah, he does.
He sounds a lot like that Alfred. Like they have the same cadence. They have like this kind of the same insults too. Like the snarky British insults. So yeah, they did a really good job with that casting. I agree. I love that show, and like I said, I like it because they seem to have to grab from the comics.
They do. They do. They are taking some liberties with
Oh,
things.
sure.
Sure. So like I know Thomas Wayne had a sister, but her name wasn't Patricia.
Right.
So that was kind of interesting to me. And then the little fling between Alfred and Martha.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, what?
I didn't like that part, but I guess for the whole like love triangle TV show from a writing standpoint,
yeah.
I get it.
And I mean, to be fair, it was literally one episode.
Yeah, it really was, which kudos for that, because that was definitely something they did not need to harp on.
No, they didn't. And I'm glad they did, because when that happened, I was like, oh, come on, dude's got a fiance, and now this is happening. And then, okay, he's running to, well, guess he doesn't have that fiance anymore.
Yeah, he's had a rough go, man.
He's had a very rough go. So for those of you who don't know, basically what's going on in the show is there are like two factions in Britain. There's the League, and then there are the Ravens. And the Ravens are like very, I want to say kind of like old school, like not quite dictatorship, but very much like along those lines, and like
fascists.
Yeah. And then the League is like more liberal and more accepting of everybody for like their differences. And yes, Brandon, I didn't want to use that term, but yes. So, so you've got these two extremes, and they basically go to civil war with each other. And it's kind of funny because Alfred's kind of playing both sides throughout the show. But if something is like very morally wrong, like he won't do it. Like he always uses his judgment, which is kind of nice. But like, as long as he gets paid, like when they kidnap the one guy and then let him free.
Yeah, that was and then choosing not to kill the queen.
Yeah.
And then having relations with her instead.
Yeah. And then shooting his dad.
And then shooting his dad. And his dad becoming a villain, and then not a villain, and then a villain, and then a super villain, and then not. Like his dad came out rolling in the wheelchair. I was like, they did not. DC did not. They did. It was what? Iron lung, breathing in the. I was like, oh my god, they full scented in
this. They really did. I was like, I did. And what's great about this show is like most shows have a lot of predictability, right? Mm-hmm. This show, I can't predict to save my life. Like, I think it's going to go one way, and it's like,
yep.
Right?
Didn't see the dad coming back, and I didn't see the first fiance dying for sure. When she died, I was like, oh, she dead?
Oh, yeah, she dead.
I was like, oh, no, I liked her.
And, like, the dude that killed her, I didn't see that coming. Yeah. I was like, yo, what is that?
So there's not a lot of like superpowers shown in this show. So if you're looking for something like that,
there is some,
not a lot.
Right. And I really liked that episode with the satanic cult and with the witch who is in the in the asylum, because that kind of like, I felt very much like, are we going to get Zatanna's dad? Like, is this going to come to fold? Like, I was kind of waiting for more of that to come, and we didn't get any of that, but I'm really hoping that we do, because I think that would be kind of really cool, especially with like how like Zatanna's involved in in a lot of the DC stuff. Listen to me. Of course she's in a lot of the DC stuff, Katie. In a lot of I'm sorry, I'm like not sleeping a lot, guys. In a lot of like the Batman stuff.
Yes, yeah. Well, because they've had a fling,
right?
Well, of course they had a fling.
Of course they had a fling.
Who hasn't had a fling with Batman?
Good
Lord, I'm sure Constantine would give it a go if he had a chance.
Guaranteed. I mean, Constantine had a thing with Zatanna's dad. So
yep, that is true.
That happened.
Yeah, I'm waiting. It wasn't until I forget it was the end of season 1 when they had that like group shot of like all like the misfits like charging, and it was at that moment I was like, all right, yeah, this is kind of like the whole like losers kind of vibe. Like I'm digging this. This is really cool. I really like this show. I didn't think it was gonna go this way. I really like the guy they played out. Alfred's doing not only a good job acting, but like fighting is really good. Like on point. The action scenes just so good.
They're very good, and I love his little Irish buddy, Dave Boy.
Oh, Dave Boy. Dave Boy's the man.
I remember
I was gonna die.
I thought that I told Brandon like when I was watching the season finale, the season 2 finale. I was like, I swear, if they kill Dave Boy off after this man has been shot and stabbed like every episode.
I'm sorry, but I said the same thing. I was like, this man, every episode's getting like mortally wounded, and he's fine. And then the other guy dies. What's his name?
Oh, yeah, I didn't see that coming. Especially how he died. I was like,
no, Dave Boy lives, but he doesn't explain this to me. Man literally gets stabbed every episode.
Stabbed, shot. The best is when the one leader of the Ravens shoots him, and then because she's a doctor, stitches him up.
Yeah, she's like, put pressure on the wound. I'm like, lady, you just shot him. What do you mean put pressure on the wound? Do you want him dead or not?
That's how like insane this show is. Yeah. Like,
I'm so happy about the Dave Boy thing because I was like, okay, he's gonna die this episode. Nope, I'm not gonna die. Okay, surely he dies this episode. Nope, doesn't die this episode. Dude has like 18,000 lives.
He's got so many lives, and yes, the Sykes sisters.
Oh, I love them.
I love Bet. Bet is like she is like I get Harley Quinn vibes from her.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? But oh my god, she is so good. Like,
yeah, she definitely gives me the Dr. Harley Quinn vibes.
And like the best thing about her is like she starts off like you don't want to like her, and then she has like this redemption, and you just kind of fall in love with her as a character. You really do.
At first, you're like, I don't want to like her. She's a nut job, dude. But the actress does such a whoever her name is,
she's so good.
They need to find something for her like mainstream because
like
a villainess or a hero or something because she's. Woo! I was like, man, I don't like you, but I love your character. I love your character. Oh, you're psychotic. You're absolutely off tilted. Just it's like B said, she has her own, and she does whatever benefits her.
Yes. Which is very much kind of like Alfred. He does what benefits him, right?
Yeah, he's very selfish in his young age right now. Sure.
He really is.
He's not the nice old
guy
that we've known from the comics and the movies that we've got. He's very selfish. He's very brash. He's kind of an alcoholic, and he's kind of rough around the edges.
And he is definitely a bit of a womanizer.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Dude is engaged. Sleeps. No, he doesn't. Dude is engaged. Almost sleeps with Martha Wayne. Then doesn't. Then sleeps with the Queen of England. Then sleeps with the bar owner's daughter.
Yeah, Sandra.
Sandra. Yeah. And then sleeps with, while he's kind of sleeping with Sandra, he's also sleeping with like his army colonel's wife.
Oh yeah, Todd,
Uh
Todd. I don't forget his name, but yeah, yeah. I forgot about that part. Yeah, the psychotic. Yeah, because she goes to America.
Yeah, they put her on a plane to America because her and her husband get in this huge fight and she stabs him in the neck with a piece of
Yep.
glass
Yep.
and he stitches himself back up. Then basically kidnaps Alfred,
Yep.
stabs him in the gut, and then
Yep.
hunts him down in the woods. And then Alfred does this like crazy trap that a witch doctor taught the colonel who taught Alfred, and the colonel used it to kill the witch doctor, and then Alfred used it to
Yep.
not necessarily kill him, but it did really wound him, and they did get an ambulance for him, which is the only reason he survived.
Yeah. Yeah. It was an insane series of events.
You're just kind of like, yo, wait, what?
It,
So I'm like, Alfred, don't teach that trick to Batman.
yeah. Yeah. Because that's gonna come back. It was one of those shows that I definitely had every intention of putting on for background noise, and it did not stay background noise. It
Mm-mm.
became my main focus as the computer became my background noise. So yeah, it was good writing, good acting all around. I don't know.
It's really, and like the guy who starts off as the villain in season one ends up becoming kind of like he's not, you end up feeling for him because he goes through Harwood. He's
They
basically,
create him.
yeah, I mean, they mutilate him, they degrade him. He's basically thought as being dead until the Psych sisters find him, rehabilitate
Rehab
him.
him, yeah.
Yeah. And then, like, all hell breaks loose, essentially.
Yeah, because then he remembers what his purpose was, what he was trying to do
Yes.
with inside the Raven group, and it really is a lot of really well done character development, and it really you even with the characters that are dead, you're attached, but you're not attached, which I feel like is really good writing because you're
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, good. This kind of sucks that they're dead, but it's like it's kind of important to the story, so we're gonna move on
Hmm.
from it. It just the Psych sisters, God, they really Bad Psych. She's such a cool. She does such a good job in that show, man. She makes me feel weird things, like just really like not like just like really uneasy. Like when I see her on screen, like there's just like an aura of like
I like I
I don't
like
know.
I like when she gets the girlfriend and she's like, now bet, don't kill. And so they kidnap them, and then her sister has like a sex shop. So
Yeah,
they tie them up in all leather and put them as like window displays.
the show doesn't hold back. It's nuts. I
And
love
you're
it.
just like, um,
I love it.
what?
Yeah, it's they need to keep it going. Yeah, his parents were really good. The actor who plays his dad is really good.
Hmm.
His mom's amazing. She's such a good character.
Yeah.
You like love and hate her.
She's so worried about her son. Like you can see it. And then you can almost translate that into how Alfred feels for Batman every
Yeah,
time
yeah.
Batman goes out. So it's like at least that's how I see it, as
Hmm.
like kind of that tie-in. So and it was really cool to see Martha and Thomas get together,
Yeah.
because like I kept waiting and waiting and waiting, and I'm
Hmm.
like we know they get to. But I wanted to talk about one thing, and I'm gonna do a little bit of a spoiler here, so I apologize ahead of time,
How
guys,
dare you?
for I know, right? But season 2 ending, Martha had a baby girl?
Yeah, really weird.
Because I know in some universes, Batman has a brother,
Correct.
but never a sister.
I've never seen the sister thing either. I don't really know where they're going with that. Mm, there's not. So there is the way my mind was going with it is this. So Kane is the last name of Huntress,
Right.
Martha Kane. I'm thinking they're maybe gonna do that's gonna be Bruce's sister is gonna be Huntress
Okay. That they could
because
do that, yeah.
right, right. So that's kind of what my initial intent, my initial like scramble, like initial thought would be. I'm not really sure if there's actually a sister in the omniverse somewhere, but I don't know. I could totally see them doing because she was in the comic book. She was like originally a relative of Bruce's, and then she wasn't. I think she got retconned in the '90s. or the late 80s, early
Wasn't
90s.
she a mafia boss's daughter?
I'm not 100%. I'm not 100% on Huntress. I just know that she's part of the Bat family, and then at one point she was retconned, and I know that it was something to do with some kind of that may be it. Maybe it was she went from Mafia Bob's daughter to related to the Bruce Wayne family or Martha Wayne
Okay.
family or something like that. Because I know she's related to the Canes, to Martha's family.
Okay.
Their side of the family. Because like in Gotham, there's like the Waynes, the Arkhams, the Canes, and then there's like the whole Court of Owls situation that
Right.
went down with that, and then so
Which I'm kind of
yeah.
wondering if like the League is going to be building to the
I was thinking that.
Court of Owls, and like
Kind of
when
what
they
I'm
go
thinking.
back to God, like if they ever they move, I don't know if they're going to move the series from England to Gotham, but if they do that, is that going to kind of be the whole start of like the Court of Owls? And
Surgeon's Court, yeah, I
yeah,
could see that. I could totally see that.
I mean, it would make sense the way everything's been going.
Mhm. Do you think they would gender swap? I mean, at this point, I wouldn't throw it past them.
Well, I don't think they would, and here's why. Is because remember they changed the name of the show. So the show was initially just called
Oh yeah,
Pennyworth.
you're right. Yeah, you're
And
right.
now the show is called Pennyworth, the origin of Batman's butler.
Yeah, they wouldn't do that. Yeah, that would just be too. Yeah, you're right. That from a marketing standpoint, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. But then again, it's DC
Yeah.
and Warner Brothers. So
We may not even have a Pennyworth moving forward once it goes to Discovery Plus. We don't even know.
that is true. That is
We
true.
don't even know.
Which we should talk about. So season 3 is coming up.
It is coming, which rumors are
V for Vendetta.
Ooh.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, V for Vendetta is technically a DC property because it's technically Virgin Comics.
Yes.
So,
yes.
And it would make sense because if you look at like after season 2, again, the country is in a state of turmoil. And so it would really make sense for V for Vendetta to be happening.
Yeah, and it would fit in perfectly. Literally, it would fit in beautifully. You couldn't ask for a better setup for V to be entered into a show. Like it's a Civil War country in Civil War. You have a Nietzschean hero who's basically a terrorist, like in the views of the government. Like this is Alfred Pennyworth show written all over.
100%, and I am so excited for it. So, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna see them. I think they showed the mask in the trailer, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I know it's not going to be the same actor, but if they could get him to do the voice of while he's in the mask, I would totally be down for that. Because that dude he did such Hugo, whatever his name is.
Oh yeah,
such a good job as V.
That would be. It's gonna take a turn that we're probably. I don't even want to speculate because I feel like no matter what I speculate, I'm gonna be wrong because like everything I try to predict that happened that I thought would happen in the first 2 seasons, I was like totally wrong.
Yeah, no, like you said, I definitely, if you would told me Dave Boy would be alive season 2 after like 3 episodes of season 1, I'd be like, no way in hell. You're mad. The dude's already been run over by like 18 cars. Yeah, he's Agent Smith in the Matrix. Yeah, he did, dude. That was, which is funny to go from like, because he went literally right from the Matrix to V, and it was like almost the same cadence in his voice if you listen to him do the, but it was so much cooler hearing him do V.
Yeah, he was. I mean,
dialogue.
He was good in both. Yeah, he was the original Red Skull too.
What hasn't he been in? Sorry, side like tangent, but he's been in. It was Lord of the Rings. V for Vendetta. He's been in the Marvel movies. He's Red Skull.
Matrix.
Is there anything nerdy he hasn't done? That dude, like a low-key a nerd hero.
He hasn't been in Avatar: The Last Airbender. Thank you, Chris.
You know what else he wasn't in? Fox and the Hound. Okay, yeah, I win too. Okay, what? All right, sorry about that tangent, but yeah, so I would love to see V, just because V again deals with government corruption and everything like that. And I feel like the story arc and everything, the way it's going, it's really well done. It's in there, man. It's in there.
And
I'd like to see it.
I'm interested to see like because also, so the army colonel basically became kind of like a super soldier at the end of season 2.
Right, which is why I was thinking the program to start V
Mm-hmm.
was that's because
Mm-hmm.
that's and then the super soldier at the end of the season with
Which, like, when I yo, okay, listen, when he swallowed that, I don't even know what you want to call that.
good.
I was like, no one can. You're seriously telling me he swallowed that? Like,
This show is so over the top. It didn't start that way, but it quickly becomes so over the top.
but in the best way.
Yes, and like Alfred owns a nightclub.
He
Like
he
Alfred,
he
what?
he, he correction. He owns a strip club.
Yeah, just okay. I was trying. You're right. It basically is. It's a boudoir, like gentleman's club, but
It's
it's
a
a strip
very
club.
much a gentleman's
It's
club.
for sure.
Which they have all of these crazy. That's where they conduct all of their business at.
all their business. Like politicians go there, and like literally all walks of life just happen to go through this place. It's so funny.
I do like that when they were in the midst of that civil war, it was like the neutral zone.
Oh yeah, that was actually really cool.
Mm-hmm.
That was because that actually made for a lot of really good dialogue.
It did, because you had both the Ravens and the League members from both, and like, you know, supporters of both parties there. And it would be funny because the Ravens would kind of like do something to like, you know, rile up the Ravens, and you would think it would like end in bloodshed, but it never really did. Like one point in time, Sandra sung, and like they all started singing to like over be louder than the Ravens members. So it was, you know, it was really kind of a cool thing.
Yeah, he. I think at one point one of the Raven soldiers didn't check in his gun, and Alfred he's like, "Oh yeah, this is a nice piece," and just dismembers it with one hand. He's like, "Yeah, we'll have that checked in for you."
Yeah, that was great. Like he like in like 10 seconds took it apart.
Yeah, it's really cool. They do a lot of that, and fun fact about that is actually the only person that's been known for Bruce to like approve of using a gun is actually Alfred in the
And
Bat family.
that's funny because he is so like in the show he's like no guns. No guns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
At least in season 1 it's no guns, no guns.
Yeah.
And then season 2 it's a little helter skelter on the no guns.
Yeah, the whole no violence thing. He tries, and it doesn't.
I don't think he
work.
tries very hard.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. But it was, that whole he actually likes to use a shotgun in the comics. That's his preferred weapon, which I think that's just an '80s thing because I think that's when that was established. And I think just everybody in the '80s was using shotguns. So
But he does use a shotgun
in the show.
In the show where he kills the one League member and literally blows his head off. The same episode that Dave Boy gets shot and then stitched up by the Ravens leader.
Yep.
Yeah, that episode was funny because Dave Boy was sent in to kill the Ravens leader, and Alfred was sent in to kill the League leader by his own wife.
Good. You know what it is? It's like a soap opera, but way better.
So much better.
Way better.
Actually, it is because like like Alfred is literally sleeping with like almost every woman. Yeah. Like almost every attractive woman Alfred sleeps with the exception of Martha Wayne.
Yeah.
Well, Martha Kane.
Well, Martha Kane Wayne.
Kane Wayne. That's weird. Yeah. Oh, and the detective foils his plans so many times when he tries to do something. Aziz.
Oh, Aziz. Oh my God. I love Aziz. Aziz is the most clueless, like right place, right time character you could have.
He really is. And then he sleeps with the queen.
Yeah, and then the queen gets around. Let's just put it that way.
She does.
Yeah.
But it's overall a good show. It may not be 100% what it's like in the comics. But here's the thing is this is why I feel like it's okay with this show and not okay with other ones. Thor, Love and Thunder. Is because you're taking a character and you're not striving too far from how that character actually is in the comics, right? So, and also because we don't really know too much about Alfred's early years, so you have more liberty to do such things with it.
A little more, yeah.
Right. As long as you keep it consistent and it kind of fits in with how like the comics are, so you're not going to completely aggravate the majority of the fan base.
No, yeah, you're right. Like I said, if you really want to know Alfred's history, you kind of have to read all of Batman. There's not really like Alfred comic book number 1. Like there is now, but
there is now, but that's because it's based on Pennyworth, the series. Yeah.
So there was never like an Alfred run. There was never Alfred issues. It was just him and Bruce. So like everything you have to read, everything that you want to know is basically going to be from Batman comics. So yeah, they kind of had a little bit more liberty. And you're right. I again, they're sticking to close enough to the source material to where it's recognizable and it feels right. But it's not, it's far enough away to be like, okay, this is kind of like an alternate universe story or an Elseworld. Like it's not main continuity. Because I know there's no way this England existed.
Oh, no way.
In main continuity. Because I feel like many other JSA superheroes would have already been there trying to stop them.
Yeah, so, hello, Dr. Fate.
Yeah.
That's Fate like that's the same time period.
Yeah. And you're telling me that wouldn't garner his attention? Come on. But yeah, so it is nice to see. And I like the I don't know if anybody else caught on to this, but the progression of the scenery technologically wise, progresses extremely fast. You basically start out with the beginning of the season 1 in like horse-drawn carriages, and then by like season 2 they're in like cars. Like full-fledged like 80s like noir like police cars.
They are? Well,
and like yeah, at the very end in like season 1 they're like still in like horse-drawn buggies and carriages in the very first episode.
Like I knew they were doing that for like they had like the fox hunt and stuff. But yeah, it's like set in the 60s. Wait, what?
Go back and watch. You'll start to notice all the cars on the road. Go back. You'll it's
I noticed there were like more cars, but
all of a sudden it was like this like, and then it's not even like it's like very it's very Batman the Animated Series Art Deco style as well. A lot of the cars.
Huh. Yeah, because like it's all set like during the 60s.
Yeah, like the whole cultural revolution. But yeah, if you look like technology wise, like look at the computers and like you look at the stuff that they use throughout this. Like it like
they did have to get that guy on the plane to America because he basically invented the first computer.
Yeah, well, he was Alan Turing. He was basically the DC's version of Alan Turing because he was gay and they were trying to get him out of the country. And I was like, that's Alan Turing. I know this. I just watched a movie on this. Movie. Yeah. So I thought that was
that was a really cool episode. Like where he basically made the runway light up for the plane using the gas from the truck.
That was really cool.
That was
really cool.
That was really cool.
Also, how did he know how long to count? He's like, count to like whatever, and like it was like the perfect time for him to like do what he needed to do. And I was like, how'd you know that?
He's count to 15 slowly.
Yeah. Well, he knew exactly what to do. That's the one, and he's very much like a prototype of like Batman in this show. He's very much like, I mean, with enough preparation, dude, this Alfred character, and he even proves it because the one plan he doesn't like vet out all the way is the one plan where Baz dies.
Yeah.
He's like, I got a bad feeling about this. Like, you're rushing it. He's like, don't worry about it. I know what I'm doing. And like, it was and he died.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can tell there's a lot of these traits that are you can see can be transferred right over. Like the whole preparedness,
which would make sense if you think about it from like the big picture is like he basically helps to train Batman or train Bruce to become Batman, and there you have it. So
Yeah, it's good.
it's really a cool show. Like if you guys haven't checked it out, you need to check it out before season 3 drops because I didn't think I would like it as much as I did, and then I watched like all of season 1 in a day.
Yeah, it'll happen.
So it was I didn't expect to do that.
I started it and I stopped it, and then my second go around, I watched way more episodes than I wanted to admit.
It became a competition amongst us between me, Joker, and Brandon. And I was in the lead, and then I had to work. And then Brandon got ahead of me, and then I got mad.
Yep. Yeah, it was. I didn't expect it to be as good as this. And there's also a lot of really good new in the current stuff between Damien and Alfred. A lot
Oh,
of
really?
interactions and yeah, there's a lot of good dialogue between those two. I
Oh,
don't think I
yeah.
like Damien as much as I do, and he's a really good Robin. And there's a lot of cool interaction because Damien's very much Talia's son,
Yeah, he
so he's
is.
very, very, very cynical, and Alfred kind of feeds off that. So it's kind of cool to see them those two interact too.
I was a big fan of the deceased storyline,
Mhm.
and yeah, you can see that with Damien and Alfred in
Yeah,
that story.
they definitely have that
So
like I don't want to call it like stepfather, like adopted son kind of relate. Like they kind of roast each other relationship, but that's kind of what it is.
it's
They're almost
it,
like best friends instead of like father son.
it's almost like an uncle son
Yeah, yeah, uncle son.
or like uncle
Yeah,
nephew
uncle
type
nephew. Yeah, yeah, for sure,
deal is
for
really
sure.
kind of what it's like. So, but yeah, it's yeah, I really like the deceased storyline, and I know I've talked about it before, but you should
That's the
definitely
one.
read
It's on my list. I am going to read it. Yeah, it's definitely next.
it.
For sure. Fun fact: Alfred's been kidnapped 27 times.
My God, he's Rupert Giles.
And he's gotten out of them pretty much almost all of those by himself without even like the help of Bruce or Batman.
Okay, he's not Rupert Giles.
Yeah,
Buffy saved Giles like every time.
yeah. He's so it's been just kind of like he's been proven to be able to handle himself. He's not the bumbling butler as he started with. He can do it. Full circle to Buffy. There it is. There it is. Yeah, and he's just a normal dude. I think he's gotten a bat suit one time. I think we've talked about him punching Superman another time
Yeah,
after
he
the
punched
pill.
Superman for basically coming after his family.
Yeah, so don't mess with Alfred.
Yeah, don't mess with
Don't
Alfred.
mess with Alfred.
And it's funny because like in the movies he's always depicted as the older,
Hmm.
basically caretaker.
Hmm.
So, and then you see this different side of him, and it's really cool to see. And then you kind of understand how Batman gets to be who Batman is.
Yeah, and there's specifically in after Joker kills Jason Todd, there's a lot of really good character development between Bruce and Alfred as well. That happens that lays the foundation for a lot of that. Like not only is he like the father figure, he's like therapist.
Right.
He's like he's there to help him work through this trauma that he experiences. So there's a lot of good stuff in that story as well. Frank Miller did some really good stuff with Alfred as well. I'm trying to think of who else did some really good. Frank Miller was really good. I guess we'll be up and coming soon. I got to look into this Pennyworth comic, but
Yeah.
see what's going on with that.
But it's really good. And like to touch on like because in this show he loses a lot.
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
Like when his fiance died, that broke him.
yeah,
You could see it. I think that
yeah,
broke him more than him shooting his own father.
that, and I think the conversation he had with his mom when like she was basically saying she would rather stay with the Ravens in England because they would take better care of her than if she went to America with Alfred. That broke him too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did not. He did not like hearing that.
No.
Yeah, he was not okay with that. So
Which can you blame him?
no, no. I mean that, which is funny because like the whole second season is pretty much him just trying to get to America
And then
and then not,
not going.
and then not going. Comic book reasons.
Cuz he felt like he needed to do the right thing.
Yeah, because he's a good guy.
Yeah, which was to stop Stormcloud from happening.
Which
And
Stormcloud's a precursor to. I'm not really sure if Stormcloud's a precursor to the Joker toxin or if it's the precursor to Scarecrow's terror toxin.
so I personally thought it was a precursor to Scarecrow.
That's what I thought until they were so focused on how they looked when they died. They had to look happy or not terrorized.
Not terror. Oh, you know what? I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's maybe it's to both. Maybe it's like the mother
It could be.
toxin, and then from that we sprouted the Joker venom and the Scarecrow toxin.
It could be. But that was
Interesting.
that was really good. That was
Oh, and then Snake Boy's little power move to the top, being like knighted and then baroned and then taken over.
Salt.
Ooh, that was good.
That was
good.
That man had that all planned out.
Talk about manipulation. Ugh.
Yeah, and then when the Psych sisters got to him, that was good.
God bless those Psych sisters.
Those Psych sisters, like, can they have their own spinoff show?
They need their own.
Like, Peg is great too. Peg is not as twisted as Bet, but
together.
Oh my God.
They're so good together.
Their family business is very wholesome. They have the prison guard.
Oh God. That was a whole messy scene.
That was.
Heck.
Don't mind the Gimp.
I'm telling you, the dialogue between those two in particular, anytime a Psych sister is on the screen, just listen. You can be doing whatever around your house, but just start paying attention to the audio because it's some of the best dialogue you'll ever hear. It really is. I don't know who wrote these people's lines, but they deserve an Emmy. It's so good.
It's so good.
Oh. And they deal with a lot of like different like literal tropes in this entire. They did like the whole like Nightingale system between like Bet's like new girlfriend and like going from like capturing her to like dating her and like this whole crazy like just
because they kidnap Alfred's fiance.
Yeah.
Bet falls in love with his fiance, and she's like terrified of her. And then she dies, and then Bet is like, I'm gonna go kill the guy that killed her. So then she like teams up with Alfred.
She's psychotic. I love her. Yeah, she looks out for number one, man. You can't really blame her.
You can't
really blame her for that, especially in that way that country's being driven right now.
Yeah, but she does seem to like truly care for her girlfriend right now.
She kind of reminds me of Amanda Waller.
The girlfriend?
No, Pet or the Sykes. What's her name? Because she has basically the best intentions, but the worst ways of going about getting them. Like, you mean well, but
you know what would be great, but it obviously can't happen because of like time, right? It would be somehow amazing if Peacemaker could go back in time and hang out with Bet. No, Vigilante.
Could you imagine those two running around this England? Oh my God.
They would have way too much fun.
I would just love if in that situation, I would love fourth wall breaks all the time and just being John Cena just being confused as hell as to what's going on over in the UK and why there's not freedom. I would just love just
why
stuff
there's
like that.
not freedom.
Just I would love that kind of stuff. I would eat that up. Exactly, like eagerly, like him angry at the Union Jack flag, like it's the right colors, but it's the wrong shape, you know. It writes itself. It writes itself.
It would be so funny because his character would be confused as to why there's not freedom. What is happening?
What is going on? Why is there civil war? What? Yeah, that would actually be really good. Good call.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, that was it's funny you say that because there's a Vigilante #1 for sale on OfferUp that's like staring me in the face.
Oh yeah?
It's in this guy's collection. He doesn't say how much he wants for it, but it's like right up front center in the collection. I'm like, that's a really cool cover. Trying to think of anything else. We try to go through the real many more key issues that have come out. Oh yeah, Batman 77, August 2019. So this is the recent one that I didn't even know about. Apparently Alfred dies. His neck is snapped by Bane.
Oh.
So I don't. That's what 3 years ago that happened. So that's recent for recent. So I gotta look into that a little more because that's at the very bottom of the list.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's like a new Robin. Oh, that looks like Stephanie. Wait, no, that's Thomas Wayne Batman. So this might be an Elseworld story then.
An Elseworld story.
This might be City of Bane, like might be like an Earth 2 story or something.
Yeah.
Okay. I just checked the cover out. That's why. All right. Yep. There you go. That's the last key issue. Other than that, it's all 1940 stuff relating to like really early on. And if you happen to have those comics and be lucky to have those comics, don't ever let them see sunlight because those are old.
Yeah, those are old. So, but yeah, I don't have anything else to add.
Watch the show and read Batman if you want to know more. That's really all you can do to get Alfred information. That's what you got to do.
That's what you got to do. But that concludes this week's podcast on Alfred Pennyworth. Thank you guys so much for listening. We duly appreciate it. Remember, you can catch the live recording every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you can catch the upload every Friday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on a variety of platforms. I would list them all, but
it's literally all of them.
Yeah, I just get winded. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with us tonight, and we'll see you guys next week.
Laters.
Bye.